So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to another Professor M Matrix Reviews video. I'm Professor M. This time, I am behind the camera, so you actually get to see me a little bit. Today, I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Today, we're actually going to look at the short video that was released by T-Spark for the new Transformers Overgear series. I thought it would be interesting to take a look at their video and kind of approach it from a different view and see what I think of the standard as an old school Transformers fan. From what I understand about the series is that it's specifically under the T-Spark branding, and they are going to be a little bit more military vehicles. And kind of the gimmick behind them is it allows them to overgear, so they have a plethora of ports, a bunch of just different connection points on their bodies that allows them to add additional weaponry, additional tools, and stuff like that. That allows the Transformers to be more than just what they were. In this world, from what I understand, just from the little bit of reading I did, is that in this world, the Decepticons have already arrived on Earth, and they have kind of infiltrated the human population. I think they said using Pretender technology, which would be interesting if they bring those back. But basically, they're in control of a global authority that kind of rules the Earth. And in this one, truly, the Autobots are a rebel band or a very guerrilla-type warfare type group that is coming to save humanity from the Decepticons. So, from what I'm grasping is that most of Earth doesn't realize the Autobots are here for good or bad. They're just the opposition of the team that's currently in charge. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video. We're going to launch it here and see how it goes from here, and then we'll talk about it as we go through it. So let's start the video.
Transformer! 緊急事態発生緊急事態発生基地内に侵入者を発見現在エリア C05 を逃走中
So right off the bat, obviously we can see this definitely has a little bit more of a military vibe to it. On top of that, right now it is primarily dubbed in Japanese. I'm not sure if they're planning on doing a redub in English or not, but right now obviously we can do closed captions and get most of the idea of what's going on.
こちらアイアンハイド任務達成
Alright, right off the bat, we get hit with one of the first Autobots we see, which would be Ironhide. And as you can see as we go through this, you're going to see that Ironhide is much more military than he was in most of the other series. Now, in Transformers the movie series, he had some military build to him, being the large Chevy, I think it was a 3000 series Chevy pickup truck, if I remember correctly. But this already looks more along the lines of like a Hummer or an NPC or something to that effect. And mind you, the vehicles themselves are not going to have branding, so they're trying to avoid branding on the vehicles. All you can see right now is you have Hyde on the front of his, which would indicate Ironhide.
Jones 聞こえるかきっとオラクル一体どうなってる
妨害電波により通信ができません。
もうすぐ出口だ
So yet again, we get to see that there's a little bit of conflict between the existing human leadership and the Autobots as they are starting to fire. I'm assuming he probably did an infiltration mission to get some information. We don't know quite yet. But definitely you can tell the vehicle is more rugged than pretty much Ironhide's been in the entire life of the Transformers.
後方からミサイルです。
Alright, so we get the first look of Ironhide as a robot, and I can tell a lot of the transformation they've shown there looks very, very similar to Binotech, just by the way the folds and the parts kind of roll out from the actual Autobot, and I did say that without humor. But you can see he definitely looks more military right off the bat. You know, the big tires, the iron plating, and I'm assuming he's going to have weapons galore.
Yeah.
Ooh, it looks like Ironhide's actually younger in this one, which would be different. Ironhide's always been the kind of grizzled warrior of the Autobots. I always thought he and Cup were kind of like the curmudgeons of the Autobot series. Add Wheeljack in there as well. But you can tell just from the face there is still some of that trace of Ironhide there with the red in the corners and stuff like that. So far I'm really liking this look.
虚しかちょっと失礼
人間に危害が及ぶ
And here we definitely have it. Look at this. This definitely fits the Overgear aesthetic, right? He has a lot more heavy weapon than, you know, your average Transformer with this chain gun type looking object. And again, it looks like they're actually going to fight back against the humans too. I don't know if there's going to be death or if they're going to kind of play that off screen. It looks like they're somewhere in the desert here. This is definitely not Japan. I'm guessing like Area 51, something to that effect, but this definitely doesn't look like Japan here.
ます威嚇射撃にとどめてください
分かってる
Okay, you saw there they had whatever Oracle is. I guess Oracle is going to be the Teletran 1 in this series, where they told him basically, don't actually harm humans. So let's keep going. So if you look at the build of Ironhide in general, Ironhide is definitely just a machine built for this. Is definitely different than where the Autobots were, you know, when they came with the original cartoon series and also even the Bayverse, where they took on your typical average ordinary cars, where this is going to be definitely more military based.
ジョーンズ繋がったか早くビークルモードに戻れ
So again, looks like they are working with some people. I'm assuming a resistance, something to that effect.
大丈夫人に見られちゃいないさこっちはエネルギープラントの情報を入手したこれで
Ooh, so Optimus Prime is definitely in this universe. That'd be curious to see what his mode is going to be. You know, I obviously he's always been a tractor trailer truck of some sorts, you know, and there's been times, you know, obviously Optimus Primal, stuff like that, where he's been different. Or even in the Binotech universe, where I think he was a Dodge Ram, if I remember correctly. But I could see him being something like a heavy armored personnel carrier, a missile transport truck, something like that. It'll be interesting to see what Optimus Prime actually comes to us as.
オプティマスに報告できる本当かよくやった
Alright, so we have something approaching from the sky. I'm going to assume we're going to get our first look at one of the Decepticons. And I think one of the first looks at the Decepticons, I believe, is a Blackout figure. We'll have to see.
上空から飛行物体接近中
そいつは味方じゃない
Yeah, definitely look at this. This is almost a combination of an Apache attack helicopter and a Sikorsky helicopter loaded for weapons, right? This is definitely a more hardcore aesthetic to the Transformers.
オラクあいつは何だ
おそらくですが名前はブラックアウト
So again, we have Blackout, like in the Transformers, the live-action movies, becoming a helicopter, which is actually pretty cool.
ゴアに潜伏するキセプティコンの一体です
トランスフォーマーか
Already, looking at the way he transforms out is definitely reminiscent of Binotech. That's really cool. So the helicopter blades are becoming almost like a cape for him. They're not just forming into the body. It's actually a really cool design for him.
可能です気をつけてください
And you saw there they just said Blackout can overgear. That's hinting to this kind of process with the new series.
貴様が奪った機密情報を返してもらう
So I was correct. Ironhide was on an infiltration mission and stole some form of classified information.
やるしかないみたいだな
And looking back here, I just want to go back a few seconds. Here we look at Ironhide again with... These definitely look more hardcore weaponry compared to what the normal Transformers had.
やるしかないみたいだなうおー
So it looked like he pulled out a sword there as well. Let me go back a little bit. So we've got the gun, and then he pulled out almost a Kukri style sword. So that's pretty cool. All right, so that's the basic film in a nutshell. There's 2 seconds left. We don't have to worry about going through that last black screen of 2 seconds. That was really cool. I'm not so sure how I feel about it as, a more true aesthetic Transformers fan. It looks very, very, very heavy military based, and I'm gonna have to get the story more to see if I actually will enjoy it or won't. I'm gonna hold my reservations out. Ironhide at least looks really cool. Blackout looks really cool. Um, so I think those are the first two Transformers being released from the series, if I remember correctly, and I think you can actually buy them already on the Transformers and Takara sites. I really think this has potential, but it also has potential to be something like more traditional Transformers fans don't enjoy. Definitely, again, you can see the Binaltech references in the series. Voice acting overall, top notch. I actually really enjoyed the voice acting. They definitely portrayed emotion. Um, I really wish Ironhide was a little bit more gruff, I guess. But I guess if they're playing him younger, I can understand them not doing that. Um, and it does look overall that, yeah, looks like it's going to be an interesting series. We'll see what happens as more comes out. I think most of the story, if I remember correctly, reading about this, a lot of the story is going to come from when you actually get to buy the Transformers. There's going to be more of the backstory, more of the lore in those figures. So it's going to talk about where Ironhide came from, how he got to Earth, stuff like that, versus, being told on screen. So I think this is going to be like short snippets like this, and then maybe one or two longer videos, but a lot of the story is going to be told offline. And that could be really interesting, especially if they integrate some form of a manga or a comic book to go along with it. Overall, I'm okay with it. I think it's going to be interesting, but we'll have to take a look and see how that goes. So if you could for me, please, if you like this vehicle, I hope you like the vehicles. If you like this video, please go down the bottom here, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video if you would. Go to my community tab, make some suggestions. I'd appreciate any suggestions you have. All feedback is good feedback, even if it is negative. It does provide me and gets to be a little bit better as time goes on. For now, I'm going to say this is Professor M, and this was a really good video. Thank you for watching another Professor M Matrix Reviews video. And as always, go forward and roll out.